Hello silver friends, this is Joli from 𝐏𝐶𝐬𝐭𝐬, and today I'm going to straighten my hair and I'm going to show you what I do. I'm also going to show you some of the products that I use to protect my hair from heat damage. Yesterday was my wash day and you can see my hair is sort of straight as it is today. It's got a little bit of bend and kink in it from sleeping on it and having it up in a ponytail. But yesterday I used some very moisturizing products. I'll go over that in just a second. And I diffused with my Life in hair dryer on medium, which is my normal heat setting for this dryer. I never use it on high because high is just too much. I don't need my dryer to be on high. If you have coarser, thicker hair than I do, you may need to use a dryer on high. Just make sure that your hair dryer is not getting over 250 degrees because I think that that's just too hot for a hair dryer. And a really good tip with your hair dryer is to keep it 6 inches away from your hair and keep the dryer moving. So when I diffuse my hair, I come out here and I just keep moving the dryer around. I take my time and I let it do that, and then I will, kind of flip my head over and so forth to loosen up my roots and get some volume in my hair. I have videos on diffusing and you can check those out. I'll leave them in the description box below. But today we're straightening, so let's get to it. For straightening, since I generally will straighten my hair on my second day hair, my hair has product in it already. So in my hair right now, I've been using the Bounce Curl Moisture Balance leave-in. This does have heat protection and UV protection in it, and I have been using this faithfully for probably about a year now. It just ended up being a really good general leave-in for me. Sometimes I use the Clump and Define cream with it or alone underneath my Loma Firm Hold Gel. So that's basically what I've got going on right now. However, yesterday I did not put a whole lot of gel in because I did not want to have too much of a coating on my hair because I knew I was going to straighten it today. Now, sometimes I use the Loma Nourishing Treatment Oil, which is rated up to 450 degrees. I don't want to use that today because it's a little bit heavy and my hair is already very silky from using the Moisture Balance from Bounce Curl yesterday. So I don't really want the slick silicone feel of this product in my hair today. Because I used the Bounce Curl cream in my hair yesterday, I don't really want to put any more cream in my hair. Otherwise, I would use the 𝐶𝐬 Blowout Cream, which is excellent for heat and UV protection. Always on the top of my list as a recommendation. Also, 𝐶𝐬's Magic Serum is a 450 degree heat protectant, and I would be using this, but it's going to be a little bit too light. So today, because of all of that, I wanted to use a spray and I wanted something really lightweight, but giving a little additional heat protection since it's been about 24 hours since I washed my hair and used the Bounce Curl Moisture Balance. So I'm going to use the Hairdresser's Invisible Oil from Bumble and Bumble. So first I'm going to section my hair into 2 sections. This is my normal process. I just get it all picked up and get the back sectioned out. I do not have a lot of hair. A lot of people think I do have a lot of hair. I think it's just an illusion from having curly hair or wavy hair. It gives me a little bit more volume and it makes it look like I have a lot. My density is actually normal to low. And in the back, I have this darker hair, which is a little bit more coarse. So you can see my comb wants to snag through it. But I like to comb it out and get some of those snarls out before I start prepping it for flat ironing. So I'm going to take the spray and just give it a couple of spritzes. For those of you who follow along with me on things that are fragrance free, this does have a fragrance. It is pretty strong. However, it doesn't really bother me. It kind of grew on me and I kind of like it. It does have a slightly floral smell. I don't use it very often and I don't use a whole lot. But I kind of feel that, is it, kind of evenly distributed. I need a little bit more at the back. And then I comb it again to comb that through to coat the hair. Now, there are going to be hairstylists among you who are going to go, wow, this girl doesn't know how to straighten her hair. You are correct. I do not know how to straighten my hair. I taught myself, and I normally straighten my hair to check my line, to trim it. Other than that, I really don't straighten it just for styling. But in my next video, I'm going to need it straight. So I'm straightening it. But I take pretty big sections because I don't have a lot of hair and my hair straightens really easily. So I split that into two and I get to it. So I use the Kristen S 3-in-1 flat iron and it is set to 365 degrees. I do not allow my hair to get warmer than 365 degrees because at 450 degrees is when your hair will start to burn. Paper burns at 450 degrees. So why companies are making hair tools that get up to 450 degrees is beyond me. And some of them get hotter than that because they don't have any regulation to regulate the temperature and keep it from getting too hot. But as you can see, the way I styled my hair yesterday, it is smoothing out and straightening very easily. So clip that out of the way. I need a little more primer on this. I can tell it's a little dry down here on the ends. And get to it. Ooh, a little steam since I just sprayed it on there. This is the first time I've ever straightened my hair on video, I think, with a flat iron anyways. And voila, that's pretty well as straight as I need it, especially for the underneath. And one thing to keep in mind is that once you have completed your style, one of the ways that people heat damage their hair is tomorrow, if I came back in and hit it with the flat iron again. Once you've achieved your style, you shouldn't really continue to hit it with high heat anymore after that. If you need to touch up a section, do it on low. Do it as low as you can because the bonds in your hair have already been straightened and likely they just need, you know, a memory recall, so to speak. So that would be how I would approach that. If you have to touch up your hair the next day, just do it on as low a heat as you can, or, you know, pick one of your serums and try doing it with just a serum. Just smooth that serum through the strands instead of continually hitting your hair over and over again. There are so many people that come to me with damaged hair and I start talking to them about how they style their hair, and they may only wash their hair once a week, but they are heat styling it every day. So that's something to keep in mind. You want to make sure that you have learned how to do the style for your hair so that it stays for as long as you want it to without having to retouch it with heat. So the next thing to keep in mind with heat damage is it's permanent. If you have not just burned product on your hair, which is one type of heat damage, that's the only one you can get off. And generally, if you've burned product onto your hair, you've probably yellowed the hair underneath as well, because you have several different types of heat damage that can occur. And one of them is just the repetitive use of the hot tool, breaking down the lipids and the proteins and the nourishment that exists on your hair from your hair products and so forth. So with repeated high heat use, the heat itself is just damaging all of the components of the hair. Now, if you're using the tool too high on white hair, it will cause it to yellow, and it will also cause the porosity of your hair to rise. So heat damage can, you know, increase your porosity, which also can lead to yellowing, because once your porosity starts going up, the cuticle is opening and it's grabbing everything that it can from the environment. So be really mindful of how you use your heat tools. One of the tips that I like to give people is before you ever touch your hair with a hairdryer, get as much moisture out of your hair as you can with your towel, or air dry for a little while, because that will help with making sure that you aren't giving your hair too much heat for too long. The other type of heat damage is actually physically burning the hair, and in my post on heat damage, there is a lovely silver sister who volunteered her images to me to show you what it looks like when a flat iron goes wrong or goes rogue and actually burns the hair. This is frightening because it actually takes white hair and turns it a burnt, singed color, and that is not something any of us want to experience. So I would highly suggest that if you are just starting out on this journey to your natural hair, investigate your tools. Make sure your tools are not chipped, broken, or really old, because there are now new tools out there that you can use that are really great for regulating temperature. Like the Dyson Corral regulates the temperature. The device I use has a set temperature and it stays at that temperature. I've checked it. There are a couple of flat irons out there that set at 365 and stay there, but I would say I would avoid those, because if you don't need your tool to be at 365 degrees, then you can turn it down, and I think that that's beneficial. You always want to be able to control the heat. You don't want something set at a specific heat that you can't, turn it up or turn it down. So that's kind of some good tips on the tools themselves to avoid singeing your hair. Also remember that older tools don't have power surgers in them, and I think that that's what happened to my friend. Her tools got too hot because they were using them on several people. They were doing a get ready party, and I think the tool had just been on for too long, and maybe it surged at some point while her hair was being done, and that's how it ended up singeing and burning her hair. But you can see by properly prepping my hair yesterday, even though I have wavy hair, it's going straight relatively quickly, and this primer does a really nice job of helping that along. So again, heat damage is permanent, except for if you cook product onto your hair. Sometimes you can remove that product. I've had the clay do a nice job of removing yellowed product that was burnt onto the hair. But again, you want to be real careful with heat. If you can avoid using it all the time, I would say that's a really great idea. I diffuse my hair every other day, and I flat iron my hair maybe once every month, if that. I may only do it once every 3 months. I typically, like I said, will straighten it to trim it so that I can see my line. And also, that whole thing about the smoke coming off of your hair, in this instance, it is strictly just this steaming off. I'm not burning my hair. Don't worry about that. If your hair is doing that and it's dry, that's a different issue. But my hair is a little bit damp from the primer, so it's, making steam. So I get asked a lot, does heat damage happen to everyone with gray hair? And that is really dependent on your hair type. Like I said earlier, the more coarse and thick density you have, the better resilience you have to heat damage. You'll have to pardon my air conditioner in the background. It is 100 degrees today, and it has been running non-stop. So again, finer hair textures like mine are going to have a propensity to be damaged by heat more than someone with thicker or coarser hair. Check out my post on hair types to really understand your hair type and learn what you need to know about how to care for your hair type. I still say, no matter what your hair type is, go as low as you can, and always, always, always use a heat protectant. There are so many products out there now. You don't have to pick the ones I use. You can find many of them in many places, and it's no issue. The main thing you want to look for in a heat protectant is one that is rated for 450 degrees. That means that it has been clinically tested to protect the hair up to that temperature. So that's really important. You don't want to just grab a product that says it protects from heat and not fully understand how or why it protects from heat. I say go with products that are marked, because then they've been tested. If you want to learn about ingredients that actually provide heat protection, because maybe you've got a favorite product, it says it's a heat protectant, but it's not rated up to 450 degrees, you can cross-reference that list on my website. It's on the post listed in the description box below, and you can, check that and see if those ingredients are in there. If they are, it probably does provide heat protection. Remember that oils and butters will provide heat protection because they are coating the hair and providing a barrier on the hair. Those products generally will be marked as heat protection, but not always as 450 degrees. So that's kind of an iffy rule, right? Like I'm saying, the best bet is to find something that's rated that way, but some of these products are heat protective and they just don't have it properly marked, or they haven't been 100% clinically tested to prove what degree they protect up to. Again though, I'm telling you, don't go above 365 degrees and you should be just fine. So a lot of people believe they should just air dry their hair in order to protect from heat, but the findings on drying tests have found that there is a damage that occurs to the cell membrane complex of the hair. They don't really know why this happens, but with air dried hair, it does damage to the CMC. And I feel like it's probably just like it's water damage. I think that air drying has its place. If you can air dry quickly, that's the main key. My hair takes up to 4 hours for it to air dry. So I need to help it along. And one of the things that was a huge mistake for me with the curly girl method was air drying my hair all the time, and my hair was broken and damaged all the time, and I couldn't figure out why would it be like that if I was doing the best I could for my hair all the time. I never could understand it until I read this study on the cell membrane complex of the hair being damaged by being air dried. And it suddenly clicked. It suddenly made sense to me that water damage is water damage. It doesn't matter what the fiber is, any fiber can experience water damage. And if you think about wood has, if you set a glass that's sweating down on wood, that ring will be there forever. You can never remove that ring. You can cover it up and you can hide it, but you will never be able to fix that. I have a video on air drying. I will link it up here and you can check that out. But it is really interesting to me that once I stopped air drying my hair and helped my hair dry a little bit faster by diffusing, I stopped having so much issues with broken hair all the way down the length of my hair. Now, I did lose a lot of hair in 2020, so I'm still growing all that out. So I have different layers of length in my hair from, new growth that's still coming in that has never caught up to the actual length of my hair. I think no matter what camp you're in, whether you think you should air dry your hair all the time to protect your silvers, or you're okay with using a little bit of heat, you should always protect your hair. Protect it from heat, protect it from that water damage. So even if you're air drying, dry it quickly. Always apply your products as instructed. Some products go on wet hair, some products go on dry hair, some products go on damp or dry hair. It just depends on how the product is made. So make sure you read the instructions. Don't just assume that you can apply it any old way. Another thing that I always like to tell people about heat is mix it up. Don't do the same thing every single time you style your hair. And that way you're not repeatedly hitting a certain area of your hair all the time and creating heat damage. One of the things I see with clients is that they will hit like one section around their face over and over again because maybe it's a little bit persnickety. It doesn't like to smooth out as much as you would like for it to. And then they end up with that one section being very yellowed. So mix it up a little bit. Don't hit the same spot over and over and over again. Find other ways to deal with it instead of hitting it with heat, because you will end up yellowing it. And then you'll have just this one section with that discoloration. So that's it for this video. I hope you found it helpful. As always, everything I've mentioned in the video, including products, is linked in the description box below. While you're down there, hit the thumbs up. And if you haven't subscribed to my channel already, please do so, because I would love to see you next time. Until then, shine on.